big up yourselves each and every time for tuning in. And as always, make sure you guys are smashing the likes. Make sure you guys are sharing the channel. And again, make sure you are you check out all the other content as well, you know. But yeah, no, listen, I thought I'd come live today, this morning as usual. But again, I want to discuss, you know, some of the news that's been spoken about. You know, I think it was yesterday. We see some news. Obviously, the Marcus Rashford, Barcelona. You know what? I'm still not thinking Barcelona are going to take up the option and sign Rashford. I just got a feeling that Barca, as I said before, are going to be looking at other players, up and coming players, and I think they might pass on Rashford. And I think 26 million, with what we're hearing, I mean that is affordable, but then you got to think about the wage as well. And do I believe Barca are that serious on Rashford? I don't know, because I still think, but in terms of attack, Barca literally need to go and revamp that attack because, as I said, man, Lewandowski's leaving. You know, I don't believe Ferran Torres is going to be the long-term number 9 there. So they're going to need to improve that position. And then you've got, obviously, the left wing option as well. So whether they go for Rashford, I don't know. But obviously there was talk yesterday. And big up to Exedra, big up to Babs One Diva, big up to Fitz, my guy, each and every time. Big up yourselves. There was talk about, big up to Saving for Palestine, says, nice hat, Gav. Yeah, bro, I've had it for a little while now, but big up, man. There was talk about, you know, and this is why I wanted to do this discussion, because when I mentioned about left backs, you know, and United going for a left back, and I'm gonna say this and be consistent. For me, Patrick Dorgu needs to be the long-term solution at left back, and then we go and get a left winger in the summer. But if you're looking at, you know, getting in another left back, which means that you've got Dorgu that can play there if injuries or suspensions, and you've got him that can play left wing, then I'm not too dissatisfied with that. I still prefer having, you know, seeing inverted, you know, right footers on the left footers on the right, because for me it just gives more options. And if you've got athleticism and physicality in the fullback positions to go on the overlap, that's how I like to see football played. But the fact that I've not mentioned this player, and again, you guys can see in the thumbnail, Alejandro Balde, is because even now, you know, for me, it's unrealistic for so many reasons. Obviously, we're hearing that, you know, if Rashford does go to Barcelona, you know, Alejandro Balde could be going the other way. And as much as I would love that, for me personally, I can't see it happening, you know. And I think the very fact that we're being spoken in the same breath with Alejandro Balde, you know, whether it's, you know, nonsense or not, I still think it's a positive sign. Big up to Foxy Danny as well. I still think it's a positive sign because the kind of players that we're being linked with, you know, you can only be happy with that, really. And as I said, I've never really looked at Balde as a serious acquisition for Manchester United. And again, I think I see something like 35 million, which is making me believe even more that it's not going to happen, you know. And again, let me know, guys, what you guys think in the chat of the Alejandro Balde news. The reason why I don't think Barca are selling Balde is because not only has Balde come through La Masia, you know, and I know obviously there's been a lot of players that have come through there, Eric Garcia, Gerard Piqué, Dani Olmo. A lot of these players have come through La Masia and gone off elsewhere and then eventually came back to the club anyway, yeah? But I'm looking at Balde and I'm looking at the fact that he's a La Masia graduate, and I'm looking at, unless they've got left backs, I know they got Gerard Martin there, and I think there might be another player that might be coming through. But are these guys better than Balde? Not for me. And unless, again, they're going to, because the way that I view Balde in terms of left backs in Europe, I'm looking at probably only one player, I would say, that I would take ahead of Balde, because I think potentially he's going to be one of the best left backs in the world. You know, he's definitely one of them in Europe at the moment. But I'm only looking at Nuno Mendes really as the only left back. You know, some people might say Cucurella, but again, Cucurella for me is a top left back. But if we're looking at young up and coming left backs, Balde's only 22. You know, I think Nuno Mendes might be the same age, I believe, or he might be a year older. I want to say, I can't remember. But I'm looking at Nuno Mendes, as I said, as the only player that really I would take ahead of Alejandro Balde. And this makes me think that this deal was never going to happen, because why would Barcelona go and get rid of Balde to bring in who? Because if we look at left backs in the game right now, you know, you look at Real Madrid, they've got Alvaro Fernandez. Is Fernandez better than Balde? Not for me. They got Ferland Mendy again, but obviously he's getting on a bit. Then you go to Germany. I mean, Alphonso Davies has been out injured. You know, I don't know if he's back now. But yeah, they're not going to go for him. Then we go to Italy. Is there any left backs in Italy? Fede Di Marco. I mean, would you go for Fede Di Marco? Again, he's more of a wing back for me. AC Milan. I mean, Teo Hernandez was there, but Hernandez is obviously playing in Saudi. And then you go into England. So left backs there. Again, Man United have got a long term in what's his name? In Dorgu for me. But again, United not going to sell Dorgu. Then you go to Chelsea, Cucurella's there. Yoro Hato is actually a centre-back that can play left-back. Arsenal, there's no one from there they'll go for. City, again, Nico O'Reilly. Again, City are not going to sell O'Reilly. The same with Ait-Nouri as well. So again, I'm looking at left-backs that Barca could replace Balde with. And the reality is, there ain't really. For me, it's not realistic for Man United to get Balde as much as I would like. You know, he's 22 years of age, one of the best left backs in Europe. And why would Barca sell him unless Barca need the money? You know, and again, I've not really heard anything as of late that Barca, you know, need the money from that transfer. So, yeah, as I said, man, I don't really see it as much as I would like, you know, because the way that I want to see the fullbacks for Man United, you know, in the future, you know, I want to see, as I said, the overlapping fullbacks, you know, with the physicality. And I think if we're looking at left back, we've got someone in Dorgu. I know Exedra's mentioned Diego Leon as well in the academy. I think Diego Leon probably needs a loan move. You know, I mean, I wouldn't feel confident having Diego Leon, you know, coming into the Man United first team, you know, because I'm looking at Luke Shaw. I mean, Luke Shaw is probably not going to move on. So that just rules out the Balde one anyway. So, yeah, I'm looking at Luke Shaw. I'm looking at Malacia still there. So we have still got players there, really, that can do a job. So this is why I don't think Diego Leon's a realistic possibility. Because I think definitely he needs a loan. And then again, is he even going to be good enough to hold down a regular place? So this is where I'm looking at it, really, you know. But I want to see physicality in the fullback positions on the overlap, you know. And we've got that in Patrick Dorgu. Mazraoui, you know, Mazraoui is getting on, you know, but he can still do a similar job, you know. Dallo, again, I think Dallo's a player that can get up and down, but there's question marks whether Dallo's good enough. And again, if you guys have seen my stream the other day, the right backs, you know, I know there's been talk about Julian Ryerson from Borussia Dortmund. Again, I do think Ryerson's good, but I'm more looking at if we've got someone in Mazraoui at right back, yeah, who's what? I think he's mid to late 20s. For me personally, he's not going anywhere. And I would prefer United to go for a slightly younger fullback that's either going to be an understudy to Mazraoui, or even that can compete with him. Because I think if you go and get Ryerson, I think Ryerson might be, what, 28? You know, Ryerson will be expecting to start ahead of Mazraoui. Whereas, you know, the right backs that I spoke of the other day, Guevara, Reed, Spence and Coyote, You know, these guys are Premier League proven as well. Well, apart from Guevara Reed, but I think United probably would be better going down that avenue rather than going for Ryerson. Again, if Ryerson was, you know, probably mid-20s or just below that, then he'll be another name that you could float about. But I think the fact that Mazraoui is around the same age, you know what I mean? There's no point for me going for a Ryerson when you've still got a Dalot there as well. You know, if you get rid of Dalot, as I said, I think going for either Premier League proven in Spence or Coyote, you know, or if you want to go for an up-and-coming star in Guevara Reed, I think that might be the better bet, you know. But yeah, listen, I think that's the way I like to see United's fullbacks going, moving forwards. And I think definitely with Balde, that is a move, you know, where it's I'll more look at that as a steal, you know what I mean? Because really and truly, we shouldn't be getting a player like Alejandro Balde out of Barcelona. Like, that's the truth. And if it's a case where Rashford goes the other way and that somehow happens, then listen, you know, you have to start taking. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to give your credit to Ineos, let's be honest, because, you know, that's a move that I never thought would happen. That's why I've never really mentioned him. That's why when I've said left backs, I've mentioned El Hadji Malik Diouf, Lewis Hall, guys that are already playing in the Premier League, that might be a bit more realistic. But the Balde one and 35 million, yeah, I can't see that personally. But guys, let me know in the chat what you think. Do you think Alejandro Balde is a realistic option for Manchester United in a swap with Marcus Rashford? Because there's two things for me. I don't think Rashford goes Barcelona. You know, I don't think Barca take up the opportunity. Again, Rashford would probably love to stay there, but I don't know if Barca take up the opportunity and sign him, because I think Barca might be looking at, you know, other options personally, you know. Exactly what Exedra says. Don't think Balde leaves Barca regardless. Yeah, listen, that is exactly what I'm thinking as well. I don't think he leaves Barcelona. You know, as I'm saying, when I see that news yesterday, you know, I wasn't taking it seriously because, you know, I think sometimes people just put stuff out for the sake of it, you know, without actually doing any kind of research. Because why would Barca let Balde leave, really? Like, that's the truth. And as I said, I would love Man United to sign Alejandro Balde, but it's not realistic for me, man, if I'm honest, as much as I would like it. And definitely not for what was quoted. There's no way they sell him for 35 million. Unless they're really struggling with money and they need anything, then I hear it. But yeah, I'm not believing it. I hate the fact, big up to Verbic says, I hate the fact that everyone is shaming on Argentine players, like not everyone of them are racist. Yes, sure, there has been sometimes some players have done something controversial, but it ain't the same. What I would say though, yeah, and again, you can't single out everyone as being racist, because that's just dumb, you know what I mean? I think everyone probably has in their body, you know, some sort of racialness in them. I think you'd be a liar if you haven't, yeah. But what I would say is, I don't particularly think this is an Argentine problem, yeah. I will go as far and say it's probably near enough a South American issue, because if anyone remembers the Luis Suarez incident, you know, and there has been probably a few more that I've even forgotten about, where there has been some sort of racial issues involving South Americans, you know, and the fact that Prestiani, again, we're not really gonna dwell on it too much because we spoke about it yesterday, but the Prestiani knew what he was doing, you know what I mean? Because if Prestiani was, let's say, I don't know, European, I don't believe he makes that racial slur to Vinicius Jr. But it's quite prevalent that he's Argentinian, Vinicius Jr. is Brazilian, and we know how heated that those two countries get, you know, which is weird because if you look at Neymar and Messi, these guys are very good friends, both being Brazilian and Argentinian, you know what I mean? But the fact that that Prestiani felt that comfortable to, you know, put his shirt over his head and racially abuse Vinicius Jr., he knew full well what he was doing. And it's the Argentinian and Brazilian issue there. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, listen, we spoke about it yesterday. You know, if you guys wanna revisit that, then check out the content from yesterday because again, man, it was an absolute joke that yesterday. And let's see what happens. Obviously, from what I've seen, they're looking into it, but you know, do I expect much to change? I don't. That's the truth. Prestiani is literally 19. He doesn't know what he's doing, but whatever he said was very wrong. But again, that big up to Verbeek, but that's nonsense, yeah? Because he's 19, you can't be making excuses like you don't know what to do. The guy's a man. He's over the age of 18, so he knows full well what he was doing. Like I'm not gonna be on here saying that Prestiani was unaware of what he was saying because again that would allude to the fact that you're accepting him doing that. You know, he knew full well what he was doing, and the very fact that it happened to be Vinicius Junior, who's a black man, you know, and who's Brazilian. As I said, man, let's not play dumb here. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. Thoughts on Harvey Elliott potentially leaving already from Aston Villa to join the MLS before even turning 26. Again, I've heard no news about that. And Harvey Elliott's not going to go MLS, I don't believe. How old is Harvey Elliott? Because if you don't remember, yeah, Harvey Elliott made his debut for Fulham at 15. And I don't think Harvey Elliott's not even older than 25. So I don't even know. Sorry, Harvey Elliott's not even older than 23. So I don't know where this before 26 is coming from in MLS. Like that's new to me. I've not heard that. I've not heard that at all. But anyway, let's get back onto what we were discussing. So yeah, Balde to Man United, I can't see it. As much as I would love Balde to join Manchester United, for me it's unrealistic if we're honest. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that. Rasmus Hojlund. So again, I've heard some news that Rasmus Hojlund might be returning back end of the season. Again, you know, this is why I've put on the thumbnail, is this real? And that's both Balde and Hojlund. Me personally, there's no chance Rasmus Hojlund returns. No chance. The very fact that that Benjamin Sesko was signed, he basically was the Rasmus Hojlund replacement, you know. And as Fitz says, Rasmus as a third option emergency only. And Fitz, I wouldn't even take him as a third option emergency because the fact that we've got, because I don't believe Xerxes leaves either. I think Xerxes is going to stay regardless because I think he's going to see what manager is going to be in place next season because, you know, the managers we've been linked with, and even Carrick himself, yeah, you know, I reckon they would like Xerxes. So I don't think Xerxes goes anywhere. Sesko obviously is not going to go anywhere. Then you've got players like, even though I think he's not he can't be playing up front much, and Buemo's shown he can get goals from that position. Cunha could play there in an emergency as well. So there's no place for Hojlund. There's no place for Hojlund. And there's no place for Hojlund. And just going through some of your comments just now, the Hojlund thing is confirmed as soon as Napoli get Champions League right. I'm not even too sure, Xedra. I don't know. But one thing I do know is that there's no return for Rasmus Hojlund. I don't care what anyone says. Come on, Rasmus is cooking for Napoli. But again, if we're going to break this down, that Rasmus is apparently cooking at Napoli, yeah? If anyone's got the record of Rasmus in Italy, let me know, yeah? But this is where people need to really understand, yeah? There's a reason why Rasmus Hojlund is doing well in Italy, yeah? And I've mentioned this before. Rasmus Hojlund in the Italian league is going to do well because the Italian league isn't a physically demanding league. And Rasmus Hojlund has got, in that league, strength and pace, yeah? When he comes to England, this league is very much defined on physicality. So as much as Rasmus's pace and his strength might be an asset in Italy, it's not going to be an asset here because every defender, more or less, has a certain amount of pace or strength. Yeah, and this is where you need to rely on your footballing ability, and that's where Rasmus falls down, because Rasmus ain't a great footballer. You know what I mean? So when we're saying he's cooking in Italy, cooking in Italy for Napoli, again, I haven't really watched the games, and it's not really a surprise if he is doing more in Italy, because, as I said, it's not a physically demanding league. You know, he'll probably get more time on the ball as well. So for me, it's not really a surprise. That's what I would say. So anyone doing prop for Rasmus Hojlund, it's like, it's easy in hindsight to now say he's doing well at Napoli, but there's a reason why he will be doing well in Italy. You know, he done okay for Atalanta as well. It's because he's got physicality and pace, but that is null and void if he comes to the Premier League. You know what I mean? And he's got 14 GA in 32 matches, which again, with his physicality and his pace, is poor. And this is the thing, Verbic, yeah? You're now putting GA into it to make it sound like he's doing a lot. Get rid of the GA and just put goals in 32 matches. Because what people do now, yeah, this is a very fashionable thing that people do, yeah? People put GA together to make it seem that the player's doing a lot more than they are. You know what I mean? With some strikers, you put GA involved, because if you're a pass first player like a Xerxes, you might want to add the assist with it. Rasmus Hojlund is just your striker that is, you know, probably tasked with getting goals. So people saying GA to try and make it sound better, you know, even though 14 GA in 32 matches ain't great, yeah, take the GA off and let's see how many goals he's really got. So again, if anyone can put that in the chat for me, let me know how many goals Rasmus Hojlund has in 32 matches minus the assists, and then it's gonna embarrass it. You know what I mean? Yusufa Moukoko to Man United. Again, Moukoko was another player that made his debut for Borussia Dortmund when he was like 15 or 16, and he's kind of gone off the boil. I think last I heard, I swear he's playing for Copenhagen or something like that. But again, I've not really heard nothing about Moukoko to Man United. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm happy with the strikers we've got now in Xerxes and Sesko. I'm happy with that. And again, I don't particularly think United are going to be looking at any strikers this summer, because, as I keep mentioning, the striker market is just not there. You know, even someone like Endrick scoring goals for Lyon, but Real Madrid will probably look at that and bring him back. I don't think they sell him on a permanent. But yeah, I've not heard nothing about Moukoko to Man United. And again, I'm not even sure how Mokoko's doing. So we heard similar with Sancho at Chelsea. I don't trust any loan with the obligation. Yeah, I hear that. Big up. So 12 goals, 2 assists, nearly 8 goals in 21 matches in Serie A, most from the bench. So again, forget the assists, yeah? Forget the assists. So Rasmus Hojlund has got 12, what's he got? 12, no. So Rasmus Hojlund has got 8 goals in 21 matches, basically, in Serie A, which ain't great. You know what? I'm going to go and look for it myself, actually, as well. Let me just check. Let's have a check. Rasmus Hojlund this season. Let's check. Yeah. So again, Rasmus Hojlund's got 8 league goals in 21 games, which ain't great. Let's be honest. It's not great for a player, yeah, that is playing in the league where his physicality and pace, you know, should be a bit of a difference maker. So this is what I'm trying to say to you. What GA, yeah, impressed by. If McTominay can be in the Ballon d'Or list at Italy, I ain't having GA as an argument from that league. There you go, Exedra. Couldn't have said it any more better myself. You know what I mean? The very fact that Scott McTominay was in a Ballon d'Or list is when football died. That's the truth. Because I've never seen a player of that level being included in the Ballon d'Or. That should let everyone know where football is at the moment. You know, it's poor. Makoko is at Copenhagen. Yeah, that's what I said already, man. I think Makoko is... I think he might be 18 or 19 now. Yeah, 18 or 19. Only guy I'd look at is Mateta. The only thing with Mateta for me, though, yeah, is... I'm just worried now we've missed the boat with Mateta. Because obviously there's an injury issue that keeps coming up with him, I think. Also as well, we've got two strikers in Sesko and Xerxes, and if one of them was to leave, then yeah, if you want to take someone from the Premier League, Mateta's the obvious name. But I think the Mateta one, I think that's run its course now. I don't think we're in for Mateta. I don't think that's going to happen. Ramos says, I'll take Endrick. Yeah, listen, I'll take Endrick, but again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Endrick, the fact that he's doing well at Lyon, I think what Real Madrid are going to do, they're probably just going to either bring him back next season and try and give him more game time. And again, they could even... Because I'm not sure if Vinicius Jr. signed a new contract yet at Real Madrid. But they might even do bring Endrick back and play Mbappe from the left and put Endrick through the middle. That could be a possibility. But, yeah, I think Endrick might just be doing loan moves until they move on other players. Or if he's doing so well, they've got no other decision but to bring him back. That's the only thing I'm thinking. But... yeah, Endrick's a finisher. I mean, I say a finisher. He's a goal scorer, should I say? I think there's difference in finishing and goal scoring, but I think he's a goal scorer. But I don't know if we're in for him, if I'm honest. You know. Sorry, guys. I'm just reading something now from. I wasn't aware of this. Let me see this. I just see something. Yeah, that was. Is this serious? 1 second. Mourinho says Vinicius Jr. should be respectful in his goal celebrations, and Benfica is not racist because Eusebio was black. Guys, I'll read it again, yeah? Mourinho says Vinicius Jr. should be respectful in his goal celebrations, and Benfica is not racist because Eusebio was black. You know what, yeah? I've got time for Mourinho. I think in terms of the managers, the character that Mourinho was, yeah? I've got time for Mourinho. And the fact that Mourinho does like his black players, man. You know, you think of Makelele, Essien, Drogba, Samuel Eto'o. Who else is there? Yeah, he does like his black players. I'm not going to say that. I think there's more, but I can't remember. Obviously, we know the issues he had with Paul Pogba, yeah? But to come out and say he should be respectful in his goal celebrations and Benfica is not racist because Eusebio was black, I don't really know what Eusebio has to do with a player racially abusing Vinicius Jr. Like, when Vinicius Jr. is not saying Benfica's racist, he's saying that Prestiani racially abused him. So I don't know what Mourinho's talking about, really. That's madness. That is madness. Yeah, I don't know what Mourinho's talking about. I don't know what Eusebio being black has to do with Vinicius Jr.'s celebrations. The facts are, Prestiani pulled his shirt over his face to racially abuse Vinicius Jr. Vinicius Jr.'s complained to the ref. Regardless if Vinicius Jr.'s celebrations were wrong, that doesn't call for him to get racially abused and then use Eusebio's name and say Benfica weren't racist because Eusebio was there. What has Eusebio got to do with that? Yeah, Mourinho's had a nightmare there, man. Don't know what he's talking about. 8 in 21 matches, but most from the bench for Hojlund. Yeah, it's poor. And again, if he's on the bench, that's even worse. You know what I mean? So again, you can do all the prop for Hojlund, but the facts are 8 in 21 ain't great. Big up to Samuel Ingram, says Mane from Wolves looks good. Listen, I've spoken about this Matheus Mane before, yeah? And if I do think Wolves get relegated, even though I do think Wolves pick up a point tonight, yeah? But this Matheus Mane, I think someone takes a chance on him. And I think tonight will be a showcase as well, because if he plays well tonight and puts himself on the map and helps Wolves to get some points, I definitely think next season someone's going to take a chance on him. You know, I think teams like, you know, the fact that he's in Birmingham as well, I'll be very surprised if Aston Villa are not actually monitoring him. Because if you look at the way he plays, he could be an alternative to Morgan Rogers. So if you want to rest Rogers, you got Champions League football, let's say, and you know, you want to obviously, if Rogers ain't having a good game, take him off and bring on Matheus Mane. Listen, they'll be very, very silly to not actually look at that. You know, he's playing in the area of the club anyway, of Aston Villa. And I think he'll be a good addition to like an Aston Villa for me. You know, because what I've seen of him so far, he's definitely got something, Matheus Mane, man. He's definitely got something. And as I said, I think tonight, if he has a good game tonight, it wouldn't surprise me if some teams take a chance on him. So let's wait and see. But yeah, I do think he's good. Bro, come on, he's second in the league for most goals and Martinez has 14. Yeah, but listen. Let's just get this straight, yeah? You know, just so you know where I stand on Rasmus Hojlund. I don't rate Rasmus Hojlund. Yeah, I just don't rate Rasmus Hojlund. I don't rate him as a footballer. Whether people say, you know, he was set up to fail for Man United, whatever. I don't care about all that. At the end of the day, Rasmus Hojlund just ain't a great footballer. You know, he's got physicality, he's got pace and strength, but he was null and void in the Premier League. That's a fact. Yeah. So if we're saying he's second in the league for most goals and second to Lautaro Martinez, what does that mean? That means nothing. The facts are, he's playing in the league where his physicality and his pace should be a bit of an anomaly, because that league doesn't really have too many of them players. Yeah. But to say that he's second to Lautaro on 8 goals is nothing to be getting excited by. It's that simple, you know. And as I said, like 8 goals in 21 games ain't great. It's not, you know. Lautaro's got 14 and 21, we believe, yeah, which is decent. So Rasmus again is short of what's his name? 8 short of sorry, yeah, he's short of Lautaro. So again, I don't think there's anything that we need to be getting carried away with the fact that he's got 8 goals, you know. So, and again, would I bring Rasmus Hojlund back to Manchester United? Categorically, no. He's not good enough, and it's time to let that one go. It's that simple. Igor Thiago from Brentford looks a good striker. He does, but he signed a new contract, so we're not going to get him. Mason Mount should move on, 100%. You know, this ain't nothing new from what we touched on before. Mason Mount's on 250. He's got number 7 on his back, and he spends half his time out injured. Yeah, he should be along for me with Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw. Those 3 there should be the first 3 out the club. You know, and that's even ahead of Ugarte, because I don't rate Ugarte, but Bruno should be moved on because we need to move past Bruno Fernandes. Luke Shaw's been at the club for, I think, 11 years or something like that. And Mason Mount is on a lot of money for doing absolutely nothing. So 3 players that, for me, you know, need to be moved on for the betterment of the club. And then you start looking at your Ugartes, you know what I mean? Your Dallos, if you want to. Do you know what I mean? That's the way that I see it. Here we go, man. Mourinho literally said, "We're not racist. We got a black friend." But Fitz, I'm glad you said that, yeah, because that was what I was trying to allude to, yeah. And the facts are, yeah, I actually like Jose Mourinho as a personality, yeah. As a manager at Manchester United, it was an absolute joke in the end, yeah. But as a personality, I do like Mourinho, yeah. But that's basically what he said. He's basically saying Benfica are not racist because they've had someone that's black. Like that makes no sense. It's like so because Vinicius got racially abused, we can't be racist because we've got black hair. I mean, tell me that don't make no sense. I've never heard such nonsense. You know, I partly don't want to believe Mourinho's actually said that because I can't believe that's actually a real quote. But I'm actually reading it right now, and he's saying he should be respectful in his goal celebrations, and Benfica is not racist because Eusebio was black. I mean, I just don't get that, man. That is just nonsense to me. That is nonsense. But yeah, listen, I don't know what to say with that. Let's move on because yeah, man, Mourinho's had a nightmare there. Let's be honest. Madrid fans were targeting the entire club and calling Benfica racist. So Jose said this statement about Eusebio. As I said before, it's only one player, not every player. But again, if Madrid fans were targeting Benfica, yeah, that has nothing to do with Vinicius Jr. This is the point that people are missing, yeah? Vinicius Jr. was racially abused, yeah? And if Madrid fans are targeting the Benfica fans, yeah, and Mourinho is coming out saying Benfica is not racist because Eusebio was black, how about you just concentrate on the fact that your player racially abused Vinicius Jr.? Because to start saying that, you know, Benfica is not racist because Eusebio was black, it's like you don't even need to say that. If you've got Madrid fans saying that the club is black, the club is racist or whatever, yeah, and you don't believe that, then sometimes it's better to say nothing. But when you're coming out saying that they're not racist because Eusebio was black, it's like you're trying to defend something, really. And it's like you're making yourself look even more guilty in my eyes because you don't even. If that was me, I wouldn't even say nothing. I wouldn't even say nothing because it's not really. It's not a Benfica problem. I mean, the Benfica fans were booing Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe, yeah. And again, that could be down to racism. That could be down to the fact that those were the two players that were arguing with the other players. So it might be that. Who knows, yeah? But it has nothing to do with Eusebio being black. Why Benfica are not racist. Like, that makes no sense. Not to mention that Prestiani is one single player and he's Argentinian. So I just don't know why that needs to be said. It don't make sense, you know? Jude Bellingham said that he would leave Real Madrid for Man United should Jurgen Klopp become Real Madrid manager. Right, again, yeah. I'm laughing because not only do I think this ain't true, yeah, but I don't want Jude Bellingham anywhere near my club, Man United. Yeah? And if Jurgen Klopp was to go to Real Madrid, yeah, then if Jurgen Klopp was to go to Real Madrid, yeah, it's like, who does Bellingham think he is to be saying he'll go to Manchester United in the first place? I don't want that guy anywhere near Man United. Anywhere near him. He's not the player that a lot of fans think he is. Like, it's an absolute disgrace. So, yeah, not only do I not think this is true, yeah, but keep that guy well away from Manchester United. You know what I mean? You know, as if like what, you know what I mean? It's just, for me, it's not a real quote. You know, if these are real quotes, then put them in the chat. But keep that Jude Bellingham away from Manchester United. I don't want that guy nowhere near this club. Not good enough. The Spanish and the Portuguese both have this cultural problem. Racism is rife there. Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. Again, it's not every player, you know, but again, man, it's a problem. It's a problem around the world, man. Let's face it, and it's always going to be there. And in football, something can be done, but Whether they want to do something about it, I don't know. Serie A has the best defense, and it's only been 25 matches. Lautaro has 14 and 25. Verbic, listen, man, you can do your prop for Rasmus Hojlund, yeah? I don't care about the defense. Rasmus Hojlund shit, man. I'm not here for Rasmus Hojlund prop, man. It's that simple. He had his time at Man United and he weren't good enough, you know? Even in his last season, he got 4 goals in 4 Premier League goals, yeah? And for me, if Rasmus Hojlund had a very good overall game, I wouldn't be as what's the word? I wouldn't be as critical of Hojlund. But the fact that he hasn't got an overall game and the goal scoring was poor, yeah, I got no time for Rasmus Hojlund to be getting prop here, man. Like it's not that, man. He just ain't good enough. It's that simple, you know. Jose is 100% accurate. It's not nonsense. It is nonsense. It is nonsense. Like Jose Mourinho coming out saying that Benfica is not racist because Eusebio was black doesn't need to be said. If you've got opposition fans, yeah, that are calling out Benfica fans for being racist, yeah, Mourinho could either ignore it, yeah, or just say whatever he's going to say. He could just say something like he can understand why the Madrid fans might think that or whatever and dismiss it. But when you're coming out saying they're not racist because Eusebio was black, that is a comment that doesn't need to be made. And I don't care. I don't really care what people have to say about it. Like, he didn't need to make that comment. So it is nonsense. To Gilbane Construction Company, it's nonsense. It is nonsense. Yeah. Don't bring that nonsense here, man. Don't bring that nonsense here because, yeah. Big up to Moishe Kaiden. Yeah, big up, man. Big up for coming through. Guys, make sure we're smashing the likes. Make sure we're subbing to the channel as well. And make sure you share the channel. We should have kept Sekou Kone instead of sending him out on loan to Swiss Football Club. Yeah, listen, I definitely think, yeah, with the amount of... I mean, we haven't got too many midfielders as it is. I definitely do think that there was space for Kone to get some minutes. But obviously, he's gone to Lausanne in Switzerland on loan. Next season, you know, I hope he can get some minutes because I like to see what he's got to offer. You know, because from some of the clips that I've seen of him, he has done well. But yeah, listen, man. Yeah, I do think we need to see what he's got, man, before making a decision. Name me Rasmus Hojlund Glazer after my takes. But you know what, Verbic, man? I was actually thinking that. Man, because obviously I know you're Arsenal and you want us to have some shit players, so I can't really blame you. But listen, the Rasmus Hojlund prop here is not going to happen, man. The guy's got 8 goals in 21 games, yeah? And it's not even about that. You know, when you've got a guy that scored 4 league goals and he was bought for 72 million and has no overall play, you know, sometimes we got to just call it what it is. And am I surprised that he's doing better in Italy? No, I'm not. As I mentioned, he's got physicality and pace that will be an asset in a league like that, which doesn't have that. That league's very tactical, you know, but the physicality side of it, as we know, is not about that. I'll take Bellingham on a free. He earns like 330 grand a week. Nah, listen, Exedra, bro, listen. You know how much I rate your footballing opinions, yeah? But keep this Jude Bellingham away from Manchester United. Like, I don't think people deep, yeah, how much of a player that, how average this player is. You know, I'd argue this with anyone. You know, Jude Bellingham is only being spoken about because of PR. Like I keep telling you guys this. He's not as good as what people think he is. It's the PR. So to say that you'll take him on a free, yeah, no, we don't need Jude Bellingham. We don't. Because I'll tell you why we don't need Jude Bellingham, yeah? For a start, he's not a number 10. That's the first thing, yeah? He's a number 8. And if we get rid of Bruno Fernandes, yeah, There's no way I want to see Jude Bellingham playing in a 10 at Manchester United. No way. So again, this whole Jude Bellingham talk is baffling. Like, we're not going to go for Jude Bellingham, thank God, and we shouldn't be going for him. You know what I mean? And the thing with him is that, I genuinely do believe, he's probably only got 1 year max left at Real Madrid before they move him on. Because as we know with Real Madrid always go and get the next up-and-coming star, And they've got someone in Arda Güler who's a better footballer than Jude Bellingham. And Güler needs to be getting... He's at a stage now where he needs to be playing regularly. But Real Madrid always look for the next star. And as you can see, Bellingham's playing, yeah? But what is Jude Bellingham's unique assets that he offers Real Madrid apart from box crashing? And again, you can go and get many players to go and box crash. So again, he's not a necessity for Real Madrid. And I'll be surprised if they don't move him on next season. The only way they keep him at the moment is because of his PR, and he draws a lot of attention worldwide because he's a name. But if we're looking at footballing ability, you just move this guy on as soon as possible. It's that simple. And I don't want him nowhere near Man United. Yeah, exactly, man. Rasmus proper in 2026. But yeah, exactly, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Exactly. Bellingham would be another Bruno. But to give credit to Bruno Fernandes, I would prefer Bruno Fernandes than Jude Bellingham. Like, this is what I'm trying to tell you. And you guys know that I don't rate Bruno Fernandes like that. But if it was a case, let's say if it ever come to the point of keeping Bruno Fernandes or getting rid of Bruno to bring Bellingham in, I'd keep Bruno if that was the case, because Bruno will get more goals than Bellingham, for one. Bruno's better on the ball than Bellingham. So again, and that is saying something. And you guys know that I don't rate Bruno Fernandes like that. But even if I'm saying, yeah, keep Bruno rather than get Bellingham, that tells you everything. Because I don't rate either player. I don't rate either player. And again, Joe Bellingham is better than Jude Bellingham as a footballer. He is. And when I'm saying footballer, I'm talking about better passer, better technically. You know what I mean? Better first touch. Obviously, Jude Bellingham's his name holds more weight. Of course it does, yeah? But as a footballer, his brother's more talented than him. It's a fact. On a free, I'd consider it. His PR would drive me nuts. Nah, listen, bro. Well, for a start, he's not going to go on a free, yeah? And I wouldn't want to play like that in the club. What's the point? You know what I mean? What's the point? Why would I want Jude Bellingham playing in a potential number 10 position when I can have Kobe Manu there? That's what you have to look at. So... there you go. The fact that Madrid plays him in the 10 shows how far they've fallen. Exactly my point. Exactly my point. Because if we look at players that have played in that midfield, because let's face it, Real Madrid haven't always played with a number 10, if you remember, yeah. But if you look at players that have played in that Real Madrid midfield, you have players that weren't even getting mentions like Guti. If anyone remembers Guti was a top player. But he was just seen as just another midfielder. Mesut Ozil, Wesley Sneijder, Rafael van der Vaart, yeah? Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, Casemiro. They've had some serious midfielders come number 10s, and we're meant to believe that Bellingham has a right to be there. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. But again, people just... I'm going to just run with this Bellingham thing, unfortunately. Would you take Erling Braut Haaland for Cunha, Sesko, and Mbeumo on a swap deal? Yeah, let's move past that, man. Let's move past that, because it's just, yeah. Wolves 3, Arsenal 1 tonight score. Big up to Stephen McKnight. I don't think it will be that score, but I'm telling you this now. I'm quietly confident that Wolves have got something for Arsenal, Because Wolves have been better in the last few games. The last game they played, they weren't even in good form, really, you would say. They were starting to get in form. and they only got beat by a narrow own goal. And I think at home, you know, with a few players that will cause problems, who knows, man? Who knows? But I don't think it'll be 3-1. I think if Wolves win the game, it might be by the odd goal. But I'm gonna say maybe a draw. I'm gonna say maybe a draw. Guti was Ozil and Cruz before Ozil and Cruz. Exactly. Big up to Verbeek. Exactly. Guti was a bad boy, and he wasn't even talked about as being amongst the best players in the world. When you hear Jude Bellingham, all you hear people say is that Bellingham is one of the best players in the world, and that just shows you how where football's gone. Because why wasn't Guti being talked about like that, and Bellingham is now? And the reason for that is because Guti was playing amongst real top players. Bellingham's in an era of football where it's about GA, even though he don't get GA like that. And the standard of player has gone down. It's that simple, you know? It is that simple. But, guys, listen, we're going to wrap it up anyway. We are going to be back tonight at 8 o'clock, guys. So we're going to do a Manchester United all-time 11. So myself and Fitz, we're going to be doing Manchester United all-time 11. The players that we're going to discuss are from, you know, when United beat Chelsea in the Champions League final. I can't remember what year that was. Was that 2003 or something like that? So we're going to look at an all-time Manchester United best 11. So again, make sure you guys come through at 8 o'clock and give us your opinion. It's going to be a good one. 08, that's the one. So we're going to do it from 2008 and Manchester United all-time... bro, I just remembered, Izedra. Yeah, you're gonna be different time zone. So 8 p.m. English time, bro. If you can come on, man. I know it might be a mad time for you, but listen, I understand. But yeah, we're gonna do an all-time Manchester United 11 from 2008 onwards. You know, and it's gonna be a good one because, as I say, doing stuff like this is enjoyable because you're always gonna get difference of opinion. And as I said, a new thing we're gonna do. So every week, you know, we're gonna do all the top teams in the around Europe. We're gonna go through their best ever 11s, you know, and we are gonna start off with Manchester United tonight, and then next week we're gonna look at Arsenal. We're gonna look at Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool. So yeah, we'll be doing that, and then we'll go on to different leagues as well. La Liga, Serie A, you know, Bundesliga. So yeah, make sure you guys tune in if you can. Yeah, bro, if you can come on, man. Again, if you want to jump on the stream, then let us know, man. If you want to jump on, I can send you the link if it's not too late for you, man. Let me know, bro. Let me know in the comments after, or just ping me a chat on my socials. I'll send you the link if you want to come on. So yeah, no, it'll definitely be a good one. So yeah, we will be back at 8 o'clock. And obviously the Arsenal and Wolves game is on as well. So I'll have that on in the background. So again, any Arsenal fans, make sure you guys come through as well. No doubt you will be coming through if your team's winning and start trying to gloat and throw it in my face. But listen, we always turn up over here. So that'll be 7 a.m. for you. Okay. All right, big up, bro. Yeah, what I'll do, man, I'll send you the link. No doubt, man. No doubt, I'll send it through. We'll get that sorted out for tonight. All time 11, Manchester United. So yeah, I'll get the link sent out to you, bro, tonight, or in a little bit when I'm finished. So yeah, man, it'll be a good one. It'll be a good one. But guys, other than that, make sure you smash the like button on your way out. Make sure you sub to the channel. Make sure you share the channel as well. Check out all the other content. Great to the game. I should have another couple coming out today, guys. Great to the game. So yeah, keep an eye on that. And as I said, we are going to be back at 8 o'clock with myself, Fitz, and Exedra. And as I say, Manchester United all-time 11. I've got my list ready. I know Fitz has got his list ready as well. Exedra, bro, get your list ready because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot of upsets tonight, man. A lot of tears. So, yeah, listen, man. Looking forward to it. And, guys, make sure you come and join us as well and give us your views and opinions in the live chat. But other than that, enjoy your Wednesday. And yeah, guys, we'll catch you back at 8 o'clock. Obviously, Wolves and Arsenal tonight. Verbic's already started saying Arsenal going to win 10-0. Yeah, listen, man, we're gonna get into that game. Obviously, we'll have that on in the background, and obviously do this Man United all-time 11. So yeah, 2008 onwards, bro. But yeah, guys, big up yourselves. Big up to all the mods as usual. And yeah, we'll catch you back at 8 o'clock. Take it easy.